Hey fam, FamiLei here, and today I'm going to be guiding you on not only how to survive an economic crisis, but also to come out on top. For those of you who are new here, I'm FamiLei. I help young adults dominate the personal finances based on their values. So if that's something that interests you, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. I'm sure as you already know, COVID-19 has caused an economic crisis and people are losing their jobs left and right. The unemployment rate right now is 20% within the US. For typical recessions, it's about 5 to 10%, and for the Great Depression in 1933, it peaked at 24.9%, and I think we're going to reach those unemployment record highs. Large gatherings have been canceled. In my area, restaurants can no longer sit people, they have to do carry out. And on top of all of that, small businesses are hurting the most, where some of the small businesses in my area have gone under and won't be able to recover after this economic turmoil. Many people in the retail industry have been wiped away from their jobs, and there has been talk about an economic stimulus package of a couple $1,000s per month for every adult, but we'll see if that happens. In the meantime, I want you to be able to set up your financial situation so that you can make it through this intact and healthy. The first thing you're gonna have to take care of is your primary source of income, and typically that is with people's full-time or part-time job. Many people have been wiped away from their jobs and can no longer work, but there are some options that you have. A lot of companies have actually been firing people so that they can qualify for unemployment benefits. Now, each state has different programs, so you're gonna have to Google your own state and see if you can qualify. Most of the time, you can just qualify if you were let go from a company that wasn't part of your fault at all. And there have been changes to these programs where people who have been specifically been left unemployed due to COVID-19 can qualify, and you should definitely fill that application out. Some benefits you can gain from this would be help with food, housing, retraining, job seeking, home energy, and childcare. Another thing you'll want to do is, now it might be kind of hard to do currently, but it's to build an emergency fund, because this potentially might not be the worst of it and unexpected bills will pop up in the future, and it's best to be prepared for them. I personally have a 6-month emergency fund, so I'm not worried if I'm laid off, because I'll be good for 6 months to get my together and to search for new jobs. That is the flexibility and stability, that foothold you get when you have an emergency fund. I advocate for an emergency fund a lot on this channel, so if you have been following and you have implemented that step, then you should be pretty good to go, at least way better than other people who are in unfortunate situations. Now, if you currently don't have a job, you've been laid off, you're trying so hard to find a job, but you just can't, there actually are some companies that are hiring in masses. Some companies like Amazon, Walmart, Costco are hiring people almost same day or the day after. They need tons of people to gather up, ship materials, package, store, shelf things, because those companies are open and they are basically holding up the backbone of the society. Restaurants, small businesses, and big corporations, especially in the travel industry, are shutting down, but grocery stores and shipping companies like Amazon have to stay in business so that people can get the food and supplies they need. So there is a huge demand. If you are looking for a job, I highly recommend you search those companies. Now, with those recent job loss, or you're simply worried about your financial state or worried about the future, you should be more frugal. And this is something that I don't really advocate, because I am more of a minimalist, where I put my money towards things I love and take money away from things that I don't necessarily care about. But in times like these, it's important to make those sacrifices, those changes, so that you can be more prepared for your financial future and for unexpected things to pop up. For example, say that you love eating out at your favorite restaurant every single day. That restaurant, hopefully if it's open, will allow you to take carry out, but you're still spending more money than you would be than preparing meals at home. So if you are in a very tough financial situation, you're gonna have to make that sacrifice, go to the grocery store, bulk buy, and prepare food at home so you save money. This will help you way down in the long run. This is something you might not like, but it's necessary. Be prepared to live at a lower standard of living if the economy has affected your job and your financial situation. And if you are lucky enough to still have your job, or maybe you're teleworking from home, then you are in an awesome position. This is probably a moment where you can really prove to your company that teleworking is feasible and you're still productive, so don't mess that up. That goes to me as well. And there are challenges with working at home that I found. It gets extremely boring and it sucks to just be cramped up in my room and house. So be sure to stay active, exercise, eat healthy, and there are tons of YouTube videos that I've been following on at-home workouts, and it's one simple search away to get you started as well. Now, if you are fortunate enough to have bought in stocks or bought in ETFs or invested, the worst thing you can do right now is to sell. That is the worst thing. Do not sell right now. Right now, people are panicking and selling, but it doesn't make sense to sell when stocks and the market goes down, because you're essentially selling at the bottom. I thought more people would understand, but it is understandable that a lot of people think that the market's gonna continue to go down, so they wanna sell thinking that they're gonna buy at the bottom when it falls down a lot further, but they're just speculating and they really don't know. What people should understand is that your stocks are gonna rebound back to their original price eventually. So if they just hold, stay calm and hold, then all their investments will go back to what they were and then continue to grow past that, as long as they have been diversified and not invested into like a single company that might just get torn apart with this economic recession. Now, if you do have cash, then you are probably ecstatic right now because everything is being sold at a discount. Now, you'll want to invest in I recommend a Roth IRA before you open up a taxable brokerage account through, let's say, Robinhood, M1 Finance, or Webull, because you can pull out your contributions at any moment without any fees. You just can't pull out any gains you've made until you're 59.5 years old. But when you do reach that age, you can pull out all of your earnings tax-free, which is huge because you're gonna have decades of growth accumulated within that Roth IRA. But for those of you who have already maxed out your Roth IRA, you're killing the game, then you'll want to put that money in a taxable brokerage account to start investing. Now, there are two ways that people typically invest. One is called lump sum, which is when you put a large amount of money all at once into the market, or you can dollar cost average, which is spreading that out over a period of time. Usually, lump sum will be superior than dollar cost averaging, because if you already have that money, the markets are typically going to grow, so you can just dump all of that and then you'll gain more money. But with dollar cost averaging, most people do that because they currently don't have the money. Let's say they donate a percentage of their paycheck into their brokerage account to invest, then dollar cost averaging makes sense because you simply don't have the money yet. But in times like these, there might be some benefit in dollar cost averaging, especially if you are worried. There's risks with both. If you put that lump sum money all into the market now, the market might drop and then you could have made more money if you had waited for that dip, but that is speculative. Now, if you dollar cost average, say you put in $1,000 every 2 weeks, then you could potentially buy now, buy that dip, and then buy an even lower dip, or it'll simply just go back up where you'll just buy it, which is not even that bad, because the number one factor to how much your portfolio will grow is your contributions. So it's better to contribute than to not at all. Now, I have to say this, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just some person that is a money nerd and loves talking about personal finance. I love reading blogs and watching videos about these. So take my words with a grain of salt. Make sure you do your own due diligence when you're investing. But what I like to invest in is low-cost index funds that automatically diversify my money when I buy these mutual funds or ETFs. There are a couple that I have, one of which is the total US stock market, which means that I own a portion of every US company. An ETF I have is the Vanguard Information Technology ETF, which is basically the tech sector, and that diversifies my investments within the tech sector of the industry. This is way better than just investing all into one company, because investing in one company is extremely volatile. If you've been following the news or following stocks at all, you'll know Tesla peaked at over $900 per share and then heavily dropped. And that kind of volatility is not really for me. I know that being average or growing with the market is one of the best ways to grow your money. But with that having been said, if you are looking to invest in individual companies, I recommend to have less than 5% of your portfolio to just have fun, play around with. Potentially you could lose all of your money, but this is for fun and potentially could make you a lot of money. Now, a lot of people say that it's better to diversify over several vehicles, but there is an argument that if you invest all into the right vehicle, then your money will grow way faster than it would when you spread it out. One industry that has been hurt the hardest by COVID-19 is the travel industry. So all of these airlines, hotels, cruise companies have taken massive hits and are being sold and traded at record lows in a long time. I actually did have a scheduled cruise for Alaska. And while I do hopefully think that it's gonna continue, I don't think the cruise industry is going to bounce back as fast as airlines, because cruise is a recreation only thing, where airlines, people fly all the time for recreation, for travel, for business, and there's just a lot more reasons to fly than to go on a cruise. So I'm going to look into several airline companies and potentially invest in those, maybe when a domestic travel ban has happened, because then I think the stocks will fall even harder. And also companies like Amazon, Walmart, Costco will have record high profits because of the devastating virus, and it could be a good opportunity to purchase those, but do so at your own risk. So to survive this crisis, you might have to pick up a job, you might have to lower your standard of living and live more frugally, and then if you are fortunate enough to have that financial flexibility, you should definitely invest more, because you are essentially buying the economy at a discount. If you don't right now, your future self is probably going to be banging their head because you didn't invest right now. That's my 2 cents on how to not only survive but thrive in these times. If you have any more recommendations or advice, leave a comment down below. Let's continue this conversation. Give this video a like, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.